One of the issues that we're going to be looking at, which of course has been captured by almost two of the newspapers this morning, is the issue of the IGP getting an extension of 2 years. And also, I remember that we're going to be looking at the minority who is not really excited about the whole Kpandai Parliamentary elections issue. All right. We've also been joined this morning here in studio with us is Stephen Kingsley Benia Esquire, and he's Deputy Managing Director for Ghana Post Company Limited and representing the NDC. A very good morning to you, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning, brother. I'm fine. You?
I'm very well. Thanks for asking. And good to see you.
Yes. And good morning to my other colleagues. Yes.
When my brother got the juicy appointment, I've not been seeing him again.
What is juicy about Ghana? Ghana Post, there's nothing. What is juicy about Ghana Post? And interestingly, under President Mahama, 7 is never juicy. And so there are a lot of code of conduct which have streamlined the activities. Even
there are lots you can't do.
And so it's not juicy, but it's a service. And Ghana Post, I know the postal service is a social service. And I say that the best thing is to serve your nation. And so we have been overwhelmed by the work at Ghana Post. And yes, the previous government for the 8 years, there were a lot of messed up at the various institutions, and Ghana Post was not an exception. So we are tied up in trying to clean the mess and then put in place the reset agenda.
There are some losses at Ghana Post.
Yes, of course. There are issues. Ghana Post is one of the state institutions that had a lot of assets. And interestingly, when you look at most of the joint ventures that were implemented under the previous administration, you see clearly that this is not in the interest of the nation, and so you want to look at it to see whether Ghana stand to benefit. When lands are allocated to state institutions for postal activities, we don't just divert in trying to put it into individuals, granting it to individuals for commercial purposes, and then the interest of the state is way low. When you have a joint venture granting 10% interest for a state where lands are prime areas in Accra, when you want to even lease, you want to lease for millions of dollars. These are some of the issues. And so we are tied up trying to review these things. And once the president has given you a mandate, you have no cause to complain. And so our eyes not seeing me because you are busy looking at what they did and trying to sanitize the situation.
I don't think an idle place that you come and inherit a Ghana Post that has an office that is a bit idle. When you give someone the opportunity to operate and even take 10%, I think it's better than leaving it idle. I think that was one of the reasons they tried to do that. And again, the courier service that they had introduced, which is very important, the delivery that bore his vision to at least take over all these things. So I know there are a lot of...
So let's go to us.
We have become so comfortable with 10%. Everything as a country, we always go for the
Of course, just to put on record, yes, of course, I can't sit here.
Too comfortable with 10%.
My other colleagues, Obo, Tebi, they were in charge. I cannot say they did nothing. Of course, they have the good side and the bad side. Yes, after all, issues of, putting Ghana Post in the limelight. The former MD did his best, and we also took over. And as we speak, the passport delivery. Now you fill your forms, you take your picture. Ghana Post will deliver the passport to you, and the Minister for Foreign Affairs even launched the one-day delivery, the 24-hour delivery service. Now, if you can get your passport within 24 hours, all these things are one of the issues.
So it's not that bad anyway. It's not that bad.
It's a juicy appointment.
Let's get into our
brothers for some time.
This morning. Now, the Tamale High Court has actually ordered a rerun of the Kpandai Parliamentary election, directing that a fresh poll be held within 30 days from the time that this news was reported. Now, the decision was delivered by His Lordship Emmanuel Brew Plank and he actually says there were some irregularities in the entire process that happened. Honorable Matthew Nyindam is the MP for Kpandai. He's been on this show. I mean, he's a family here, and he comes on this show very often. Now, Osae Kwapong has issued a press statement, and they've condemned the nullification of the Kpandai Parliamentary election. Let me begin with you, Awal. This is coming as though we're going to be looking at another blow with regards to this whole parliamentary numbers and all of that. If the NDC succeeds in moving this to where it's going right now, and they eventually win that seat, that's going to be another problem for the NPP. Beyond the minority, leaders speaking against this and all of that, if the worst case scenario happens, what happens with the NPP?
Thank you so much. I don't think the NPP will lose that seat even if it is rerun. I don't think so, yes. You see, this is a typical NDC constituency, no doubt about it. The NDC had never won, the NPP had never won that constituency from 1992. However, when a certain Matthew Nyindam started contesting, he had won throughout, except in 2020, when he lost. And he has come to Parliament twice through skirt and blouse. And they have renewed his mandate after 4 years of inactivity of that constituency. That's the reason they renew his mandate in 2024. They didn't just renew his mandate. Dr. Bawumia got the highest vote in the history of that constituency in 2024.
Yeah, the vote difference, about 3,000, that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's not even up to 3,000 between Bawumia and Mahama. At a point in time, it was even...
I'm talking about his...
Yes, it even came up. No, for the times that Matthew Nyindam had represented the people, he had won overwhelmingly, almost all the time. So he had really set a record that is only in Nandom, that you can find that record in the history of this country, in the history of the Fourth Republic, where you have one MP consistently going on a skirt and blouse for 2 consecutive terms, whilst his party will lose at the same constituency. So the narrative is different when you say, well, if they are able to push it through, the NPP might lose that seat. That is impossible, because when they voted for the former MP, for 4 years, there was almost an inactive constituency for them. That was the reason they had to renew his mandate with a vote difference of 3,700 votes, when at a point in time when our party was really not very attractive, especially in the 2024 elections. So that said, I think it's really something that is very worrying, looking at what had happened. You see, after the elections, they knew, at least if you contest any elections, you know whether you've won or you've lost, because you have your coalition center. You have both parliamentary and presidential coalition center within the constituency. That is yours before you even. So anytime an agent goes to the polling station and the polling station is declared, he will submit the duplicate pink sheet to your coalition center. Then the original one will be sent to the coalition center for the district. But your own private coalition center, that is the party's coalition center, will have all these. The NDC clearly lost that seat. After losing, from all indications, the MP saw that he had lost the elections. So he organized macho men to disrupt the process. The EC decided to pick everything to the regional office to collate. And that is not alien. Some were even moved from Eastern region to Accra for collation. You remember Fanti Akwanoff and Nsawama Dojiri. They were moved here. Some even as far as Ashanti region were moved here. The EC officer, sensing danger at that time, felt that let's move to the regional office to do collation there. The NDC constituency youth organizer and some other executives were there at the collation center in Tamale. The MP saw that he had lost. So the MP didn't even show up in Tamale for the coalition because he had lost with a huge margin. Now, fast forward, the MP decided to challenge the results. He went to court and was challenging 41 out of 152 polling stations. 41 out of 152. He said there were irregularities in the 41. And the main witness in that court case came out to say that even the irregularities captured about 500 votes. So if the court, if the court is to even give the entire 500 votes to the former MP, Nyindam will still have won.
Yeah, the margin. Yeah.
Now, someone goes to court and says, this is what I am seeking for. Then the judge says, well, what you're seeking for, I'll give you beyond what you're seeking for. The judge says, instead of the 41 polling stations that the MP was seeking for a rerun, the MP says the 110 other polling stations that do not have any problem, which both the NDC and NPP had not said that they had any problem. The judge is saying that go and rerun the entire constituency. That is why the minority said that, well, what the judge had done will have to only go for an appeal so that it will be set aside, because even if he is to grant the things that the MP appealed, he should have granted the 41. At least, just like how it happened in Akwatia, where you had about 12 police stations being run. When Baba Jamal won, you remember the last time Baba Jamal came, it was 12 police stations. Abliokuma North, we had run 19 police stations before. So if you are talking about going to run police stations, there are precedents in this country where we had run police stations before, few police stations, some as low as 12 police stations in Akwatia. So that is the reason we're looking at this, and we think that as if the court is under reset. Because now you have a supreme leader. President Mahama is now...
He said he's not.
He is, because you have absolute control over the executive, which Ghanaians gave you the mandate. You have absolute control over a legislature, which Ghanaians still gave you that mandate. Today, if NDC are to divide themselves into two, they will still be more than us.
Yeah.
So what do you need again? You have to, do you need to reset the judiciary? Even the military junta, they leave the judiciary because that is the last bastion. So today, you can remove the Chief Justice because of an allowance that you took and go ahead to appoint a new Chief Justice. So what is happening? That is why we're not sure whether the court is under reset.
Okay, I'll come back to you again, but let me take the thought of Richard, and then when Richard is done, I'll go to our lawyer. Richard.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say good morning to my co-panelists, to the people of Whole Central, to all your cherished viewers, the entire production team of Joy Prime this morning, and to extend my warm greetings to Honorable John Alankojo Chiromanteng. Regardless of anything, I believe that Alan Chiromanteng is the best man positioned to take over from JM. And I believe that he has so much to offer this country when given the opportunity. But to go to the substantive issue, for me, it also baffles my mind where an applicant who seek for a review on 41 polling stations, which he deemed that there was something that happened that didn't favor him. Therefore, he was seeking the interpretation of the court as to how to amend that issue. And for the court to turn around and say that, look, we are not going to look into the 41 polling stations, but you need to rerun the entire election in the constituency. At whose cost? At whose cost? You see, we have been wasting too much resources in this country. Do you know how much it's going to cost us to rerun an entire constituency election? What is the budgetary allocation for electoral commission? So we are doing too much wastage in this country. The wastefulness is too much. And you see, we shouldn't be playing to the gallery. When I read the story really indicates that, yes, it looks like the man who lost the election also mobilized some few people to storm the coalition center And if you storm the collation center, yes, everybody has the right to self-defense. So if people working at the Electoral Commission feel that their life is being threatened, they may act on other second, option that is available to them. And the option that is available to them is to move from the constituency collation center to regional. But then again, the question that begs for an answer, when they were moving into the regional coalition center, the MP who lost, was he informed? Was he asked to be there? If he was asked to be there and he refused to show up, then that one, it is his own business. But if he wasn't asked to be there, then that one, it is not proper, because even if you are taking it to a different coalition center, both parties have to be what? To be present. So we need better information as to, was he invited? Did he turn it down? Or they only moved it there and he wasn't aware about it, and all of a sudden an election was declared, and it was declared in the favor of the NPP candidate. If that is not the case, then obviously it is not proper for us to go into a complete rerun of this election. And if you're also not careful, we are setting a bad precedent. The precedent will be that if I am contesting an election as a member of parliament, and I realize that the chances are that I am losing, I can mobilize some people and go and distract everything. After distracting everything, I go to court. When I go to court, the court will say, go and rerun it entirely. So what kind of precedent are we trying to set? It is not proper. I will still want to go with that school of thought that says that if it is 41 polling stations that the man requested for an interpretation or a review of what happened, we should strictly stick to that and go and rerun the election in these 41 polling stations. Simplicity. So I don't know what went into the judge thinking that it should be a complete rerun. That baffles my mind.
Maybe could it also be that maybe the level of irregularities that we are talking about? Maybe then the applicant, I'm good, the lawyer is here, then the applicant should be able to indicate that from the very inception of his process, that I have problem with all the 152. And not 41.
But if an applicant goes to say that I'm seeking review on, or I'm seeking some interpretation on 41, and you then turn around to say, like, no, I'm nullifying all the other 141, then it beats my mind. Are you getting the point? So, you see, it shouldn't be that when you have power, you should use absolute power to do all manner of shenanigan activities that will be in your ultimate interest. If you are doing that, then you are setting a very, very, very bad precedent. So we are still of the view that we need to have an election that will be free, that will be fair, that will be equitable enough, so that everybody who participates in it should have that confidence that when I lose confidently. Are you with me? But it's not a kind of election that you go thinking that the playing ground is not even from the very inception. Therefore, once you believe that the playground is not even from the very inception, you take the law into your own hands by mobilizing people. I have not seen any video evidence to suggest that, yes, true, the man galvanized his base and went there to distract the process.
The videos are there.
But if the video evidence are there to suggest that he really participated in this kind of barbaric activity, then why should we be pampering them? And again, we had an election in December 7th. Election results were declared December 8th or 9th or 10th around, 10th probably.
On 8th. On the parliamentary is on the 8th.
Assuming without admitting that it is even on the 10th. Why should we have to wait? What should take the course for almost 11 months for him to pass judgment? What were they looking for? What kind of evidence were they looking for? They were lackadaisically pursuing the issue for 11 good months. For an MP to be actively involved in doing his constitutional duty as an elected member of parliament representing the people of Kpandai. All of a sudden, after 11 months, then you turn around to come and trigger this thing. What are you trying to tell us? So in a nutshell, we should have a timeline for election-related what do we call it? Dispute.
Yeah.
There should be a class timeline.
There is even a timeline for even presidential that it shouldn't go beyond 3 months.
So
That's the timeline.
So if
after 2013 debacle, so we had a timeline in the CI that at least it shouldn't go beyond 3 months. That is even the presidential.
Yeah, so if you are going to have election tribunals, that we are advocating that anytime we are going to election, we should have the election tribunal court set aside immediately and give them the responsibility that should any election petition be brought to your attention within a period of 48 days or 50 days, you should be able to determine the outcome of it so that there will be fair. Imagine the constituents believing so much that this is the man they've elected to represent him, or to represent them. And he has been working all for the past 9, 10 to 11 months. All of a sudden, we are telling the constituent that they need to go and queue and vote again. We see we are a country that we major in the minorities too much. We major in mediocrity. We major in anything that is the peripheral. That is what we take so much interest in. So for me, I would want to beg to differ from my brother Awal's point that maybe the president has become, what do we call it, more or less a supreme leader. Because you see, he never triggered the petition for the removal of Madam Tokono. We have gone beyond Madam Tokono.
We have not. The case is still in court.
He never triggered it. If that is the assumption, then now we can say that then it was Nana Akufo-Addo also who triggered the removal of Madam Charlotte Osae. Simpliciter. Simpliciter, because if you are not admitting that it was somebody, even up to date, the ones who triggered the removal of Madam Charlotte, it's still faceless, you still don't know them. So if today somebody triggered a petition for which reason we know the person explicitly that he was the one who triggered the petition for the removal of Madam Tokono, why then do you turn around and heap it all on the president? See, so this argument of the father, they are trying to reset the judiciary. Yes, of course, we all admit to you that the judiciary needs a complete overhaul because the judiciary has never been fit for purpose because we all know. I'm coming. It's a straightforward conversation because we were in this country where video evidences suggested that some of them were taking goats and some of them were taking all manner of bribes. Isn't that the case? We were in this country when at the end of the day, people go to seek remedy at the court and it takes them 3 years.
And those people were dealt with.
Yes, they were dealt with, but that doesn't mean the system has completely been purged of all the miscreants. The system has not been purged off. So we need a complete overhaul. And again, I've always been advocating that there are several people in Sumah prison today for no fault of theirs, simply because they never had the money to pay a lawyer. They never had the money, or they never had the family that marshal around them to remedy them or to rescue them. So they are languishing in Sumah. I am still appealing to the Chief Justice today that if for nothing at all, he should try and revisit almost all cases at the Sumah, almost all these minor issues for people to be languishing in Sumah prison for 10, 20, 15 years. It is not proper. There should be a parole system that can allow some of them that after they've served for about 1 year or 2 years, we discharge them and give them conditions so that we monitor you. If you default on it, then you go back. But this issue of as rerunning an entire election in a constituency that had issue with only 41, I think it demands further clarification on this subject matter.
Very well. And also understand that we have Dr. Osae Kwapong on Zoom. He's also joining us this morning. He's a senior research fellow at CDD Ghana. Doc, I'll come to you briefly. Let me listen to counsel on this issue first, and then I'll go to Doc.
Yes, thank you. Good morning to viewers. My boss, Madam Retasa, MD of Ghana Post, is with us. So good morning, Madam. Yes, so my brother, Ghana is a democratic state, and one of the pillars of every democracy is rule of law, and then that one is underpinned by a constitution. And so the constitution embodies the whole administration of the state, how the state should be governed. And so Ghanaians decided that, yes, part of the process is elections, and as a process, there may be issues, and so measures were provided for as and when it becomes necessary. And so in the 1992 constitutions, there are election petitions. If it is president, you file at the Supreme Court. If it is parliamentary, you file at the High Court. And then you go to court with your reliefs, seeking for the court to grant same. And so for us to jump into a hasty conclusion that the person went for annulment of 41 police station, why has the court, nullified the whole results? Yes, one, as a lawyer, I'm here to cite the petition and the reliefs. 2, I'm here to cite the full ruling or judgment of the court for us to know the basis for such a conclusion. So I'll advise that let's hasten slowly. I mean, let's get the benefits. Let's give the judge the benefit of the doubt. Let's get the full judgment of the court. And then we look at the basis for, nullifying the whole election process. Yeah. Because, for example, if you look at Regulation 39 and 42, for you to even move the coalition to a different place, all parties must agree. All parties must be given enough notice. And so, for my brother to say that somebody was there, the point is that was the candidate nullified? Or was he notified? That alone, to call it the results. That alone can truncate the whole process.
No, it doesn't invalidate. The CI never said that it invalidates the report, the entire result. It doesn't.
That alone,
he's talking about.
That alone can nullify the whole process.
It can't.
And remember, in December, I think it was 9th December, MP4 South, the Honorable Dafwamapong came out and makes this statement that the EC decision to even relocate was unlawful because it contravened that provisions of the CI 127. That was, Nigeria Online dated 19th December 2024. EC's decision to recollect parliamentary results unlawful. Especially, he made the point of them moving it from the collation center without even the consent of the contestants. And so, once you go to court and you seek for reliefs, and the judge, on the face of the evidence, see that there are a lot of irregularities with the results, you seek that the process should be annulled for fresh elections to be conducted. Right? In 2012, 2030 election petition, my good friend here, the NPP went to the Supreme Court. Even where clean sheets their agents have signed, they were termed as unknown polling stations, and that the court to annul the results and order for a rerun. Was it not what they took to the court?
We took 11,000 pink sheets to.
And what was their relief? Were they saying that the court should only annul that place or cancel the results? Do you get it? So let's wait for the judgment of the court. And the good thing is that it doesn't end there. There's an appeal.
Appeal, yeah.
And I know the lawyer for the respondent, Sly. I know him very well. It's a very good guy.
But the council,
and there's stay of motion for stay of execution. So let's see how it goes. But then for you to cast insinuation that the president, please, we're all in this country. I'm a lawyer. I know what went on. Where judges were even transferred with phone calls. Those who ruled against the former Attorney General. People didn't speak about it. So it shouldn't even go there at all. We're talking about judicial manipulations. Remember Asinov? Talking about people who have been, people going to parliament to serve. Judge Kwesi Honorable was elected. He was in parliament serving. Look at the trauma he went through.
Yeah.
But it's part of the law. It is part of the laws of this country. And so you cannot crucify the person also exercising his constitutional right, that you have the right to file a petition if you believe that a person has breached the Constitution, a person is not qualified as a member of parliament. You go to court, and the court will decide. And so, to him, it is their stronghold, or it is the...
He still believes that...
He believes that they will win.
With the river.
As enough, and this that believe that, okay, the court says that it cannot be a member of parliament, but we still believe that the people at Asinov will also re-elect him. And so we found the same candidate. We went to election and we won overwhelmingly. And so let's not attack the judiciary.
So you're positive that the NDC will win that seat.
Of course, my brother, looking at the recent
the timeline not very, very...
There's no timeline. Let's set the records.
We go into
let's set the records straight.
And then we'll go back to this.
There's no timeline for now. There's no timelines regarding parliamentary petitions. But for the presidential, there was.
But wouldn't you think that there should be a timeline?
Oh, of course. But you see, we can give timeline, but for me as a lawyer, you see,
that's what I'm asking, because you are a legal practitioner.
It's not a straightforward thing. It's not a straightforward thing.
Hey.
Yes, so as lawyers, when people come to clients, prospective clients, say that in this case, lawyer, how long will it take? I always say them that I cannot.
No. You can trigger and it will still end within the same period. And that's the reason When in 2013, it took us 8 months to do that. We set it that even if it is daily hearing, within 3 months, it should be resolved. And that was what happened in 2020. And in 2020, NDC went to court and it was resolved within the same period.
You see, in 2021, that election petition, people have a lot of issues. I'm telling you that the EC, the chairperson, was not allowed to testify because the court wanted to meet the deadline.
No, that's not the case. That's not the case.
Let's give parties opportunity.
The facts.
Let's give parties opportunity to present their cases.
It was not the court that prevented her from the hearing. It was her lawyers who said she would not stand in the dockets because they don't need her there. Don't paint the picture as though the court prevented her from standing because the court needed time. That is not the case. It is part of their case that they said she will not be in the docket to represent the EC.
I'm saying that.
And you know, as a lawyer, it happens.
The
can say that.
Are there. When even and the petitioner filed for interlocutories, the court first said that the person will be a witness, so you wait. I mean, you can go for the records.
Yes.
Then later on, the same court turn around to say that.
It is not the court that prevented her.
And even the petitioner filed motion to even to subpoena the person to. All those proposals were rejected by the court. Because saying that they wanted to meet that deadline.
No, the lawyers
that deadline.
Right.
So, you see, it's very dangerous when you want to just restrict people. It's a whole process. Parties will have their witnesses. We'll go under process examination. Let's give them time. I mean, justice grants rule, but it will still end. You want us to
So
I'm saying that the court has given a judgment. NBC, we have accepted it. We believe that yes, there were a lot of irregularities, and that it has tainted the 2024 parliamentary results in Kpandai. We believe that there will be a rerun and that our candidate will win.
Okay, let me go to Dr. Osae Kwapong. He's joined us on Zoom. He's a senior research fellow, CDD Ghana. Doc, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thanks for joining us here on the show. I'm grateful.
My pleasure.
I'm sure you cited this, nullification of the Kpandai results. The major concern over here, clearly, from everyone who has spoken, apart from the fact that there has been some legal processes, is the fact that we had to wait for an entire 11 months before we're able to, have a final ruling on this very issue, that it gives that back and forth situation. You think that as a nation, some of these things will send us backwards?
Good morning to you once again. Good morning to the other panelists. I believe that it would be in our best interest to find a way to resolve some of these electoral disputes in a more speedy manner. I mean, I know that these legal matters are not things that you want to just overnight. Resolve them overnight. But at the same time, it would be helpful if it doesn't take 7, 8, 9 months to resolve some of these things, because then when you arrive at an outcome like this, and the implications that it has, further appeals, rerunning the election, what if the election outcome changes via a rerun and all of those things. For me, if we can find a way of saying all electoral disputes, for example, would be resolved within a month after an election, so that whoever is sworn in to serve the people of a given constituency, he or she goes in without any sort of cloud hanging over them. I don't know what makes these things take all of the time that it takes, but I think it will be helpful if we can resolve them in a more speedy manner than so far the few cases that we have seen over the course of the Fourth Republic, have shown.
So an applicant goes for a review of, let's say, 41. A judge finally decides that I'm going to nullify the entire process for us to have a rerun. Democratically, maybe that would make sense, because this is the laws of Ghana. He's a judge. He has the prerogative to make such decisions. But when the other party does not really understand why it would take a judge to make that decision, what does that make for us as a nation?
Yeah, it would be very, I'll be very interested to see the judge's full ruling and the basis for the remedy proposed to whatever happened in Kpandai. Because in my mind, yes, I understand that the integrity of an election is very key to any democratic dispensation. We all want free and fair elections, and so anything that chips away and undermines the integrity of an election should definitely be remedied. From my understanding, the issue arose out of remaining 41 polling stations that needed to be declared, at the coalition center, giving some challenges. Then, a decision was made to move it somewhere else for that to be done. So, if what was outstanding was 41 polling stations, in order for the EC then to be able to declare a winner, and administrative decisions were made to allow them to do it not at wherever the original coalition center, but somewhere else, then I don't know. I'm not sure why the decision is not to rerun those 41 polling stations, but rather rerun the entire election. So for me, I think I'll wait to see the basis for the judge's ruling and why that is the remedy recommended. At the same time, to the other thing that I'm curious about is if it was 41 remaining that they were struggling to complete at the coalition center, were there issues with that 41, or was it just a question of all the shenanigans, all the different things that were happening that made it chaotic and impossible to collate those 41 polling stations? If not, then again, why the remedy of nullifying the entire election? But I really would want to know what the basis of the judge's ruling is, because for me, it has implications for how we remedy things that don't go right once an election is over and we are trying to count and declare a winner.
Very well. Let me go to Lawyer Kwame Oredu. He's member of the Legal Directorate for the NPP. I understand he's also joined us on Zoom. Lawyer, if you can hear me, good morning.
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning, and good morning to your viewers as well.
Great. I'm grateful that you're able to join us this morning here on the show. First of all, let me find out, have you seen or do you have any idea what may have constituted to this decision by the judge that proceeded over this issue?
Well, let me greet my colleagues in studio and Dr. Kwapong as well. I have procured copies of the petition and some processes in respect of the court cases. And I can confirm to you that indeed Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, I have indeed procured some processes that were used in the court in terms of the election petition itself, the responses, and some proceedings. And I can confirm to my fellow panelists that indeed 41 polling stations out of the 152 were at issue. And indeed, if you look at the petition of the petitioner, these polling stations had been particularized. All the issues that were with these particular polling stations had been particularized. And so, yes, it is true that out of the 152 polling stations, the issue that went to court was just around 41 polling stations. So that is a factual thing I can confirm to your viewers as well. So I am a bit disturbed, and I agree with the lawyer. I mean, I've spoken to him extensively, and let me also put on record that the party's legal directorate has taken keen interest in the case, and it has resolved to help Mr. Isang, Lawyer Sylvester Isang, who handled the case at the Tamale High Court, all the legal assistance he would need. And personally, I have called him, I've engaged him, and I believe that looking at the ruling and the evidence that were adduced, he has a very high chance of succeeding when he goes on appeal. Why would I say that? In fact, if you look at the proceedings of court, I think especially the one on the 3rd of June 2025, the key witness, one Mr. Charles Kipo, did admit that all those 41 polling stations, if we were to collate the entire numbers at that particular polling station, it would just be a little over 500 votes. And Mr. Nyindam won the election with more than 3,700 votes. So the lawyer was of the view, and indeed that was expressed in his cross-examination, that even if we should nullify or give all these 500 plus votes to the NDC candidate, nothing would change. There's no way the election fortunes of Mr. Nyindam was going to change. And indeed, if you look at the processes, I could send them to your producer. He did admit that it was indeed 500 and it wasn't going to change it. So that is our worry, that the ruling is heavily against the evidence adduced. And it has a bit of a history. In fact, this particular petition was the second one. An initial petition was filed. And interestingly, let me tell you what happened. So when the petition was filed, the first petition was filed, the respondent, through his lawyers, raised a preliminary legal objection saying that it has not been filed, it has been filed prematurely, in that the election results had not been gazetted. Arguments were made for and against this application to set aside the writs. It was only left with the ruling of the judge. When time came for the ruling to be delivered by the judge, the petitioner, through his lawyers, came and said, we are withdrawing the petition. The judge did not come to give ruling on that particular position. Then the judge allowed them to withdraw the first petition and submitted a new one. It was even without leave of court. When they were withdrawing the first petition, it was not with liberty to come back. So that is another angle we have advised Mr. Isan to actually take a look at, because it could be subject of an appeal. They withdrew the first petition without liberty to refile it, but yet the judge granted them, and also that is another leg of it. But what we are saying is that we are because when before a verdict is given, the supporters of the petitioner is seen jubilating in town that they have won and it's over and all that. Then we go to court and we get a verdict which is heavily against the evidence as adduced in court. Then we should all be worried.
So yes, there's going to be appeal. We're going to probably, be stretching this. But you've also mentioned that the legal team from the NPP are ready to go at early lengths to ensure that, in a case where we go back again and then we don't succeed with this, what will be the stance of the legal team?
The judicial processes end at the Supreme Court. And for us, we believe so much in the case of Mr. Nyindam that we are willing and ready to assist him legally. I mean, we believe in the rule of law as well. We are willing to assist him legally to go to the highest level, which is even the Supreme Court. And let me just do a quick correction. I overheard my colleagues saying that the absence of representatives of the MP at the Coalition Center could invalidate. No, Awal is very right. If you look at CI 127 regulation 48 tells you straight away that the absence of an agent or the candidate himself or herself will not invalidate anything that the Electoral Commission does. So it is never the case that because they were not present or they were present and later left because they were losing would invalidate anything that the EC did, including the declaration. So yes, I just wanted to make that correction. But as a party, we have taken keen interest in it, and we are going to provide Mr. Nyindam all the legal assistance needed, because we believe in his case, and we believe that there are precedents. There have been numerous times, Awal has said it, Akwatia 6 polling stations. I am from there. There have been numerous times that the court have said, you know what? Everybody cannot be disenfranchised, because if I go to vote and I voted peacefully, and now you are telling me that something else happened in another polling station, so I should come back and vote again and nullify my vote, you have indirectly disenfranchised me. It is not fair to the people. And look at the cost of election. I overheard one of your members saying it. Yes, look at the cost of organizing an entire election. All because even when the 500 votes that came out of the 41 polling stations that were sent to court, even if they had been added onto the petitioner's vote garnered at the 2024 election, it wouldn't have made any difference. So yes, I agree with Dr. Kwapong. He says we all wait for the reasoned ruling of the judge. He says he will be out on Friday, but I can tell you from the proceedings that I have had, and the copies of the proceedings as well as the petition, the judgment is heavily against the evidence as adduced at trial.
Very well. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Kwame Oredu. And if we need any other clarification, we'll come back to you. Kwame is a member of the Legal Directorate of the NPP. Doc, let me wrap up with you two as well. Before you go, they've mentioned that they're going to go to the highest point to make sure they resolve this issue. You think that they have a chance with this?
I mean, I can't predict what would happen, but if there's a bit, for me, it would be once I see the ruling. It's the remedy.
I'm asking because of what this actually does to our democracy in terms of moving from different stages to ensure that we get to the apex, so that whatever it is that we need to resolve, we resolve it.
I mean, for me, it's the democratic thing to do, right? That to resolve some of these vexing questions, you want to take it through the entire process. I would be interested to see how, at the appellate levels, even if it goes all the way to the Supreme Court, how the question of the appropriate remedy to electoral disputes is. Whether in a case like this, we are rerunning the entire thing, or whether we are rerunning the affected areas that may have had issues and therefore calling into question the integrity of the election in those problematic areas as opposed to the entire constituency.
Very well, Doc. I'm going to jump into my next conversation. I'd love if you could be around still to join us, but if you can't, I'd appreciate your time this morning here on the show.
Sure.
Great.
I mean, I do have time to join you.
Okay, so we'll look at the IGP issue. No, yes. So, Doc, stay with me.
You have some last point.
No, we're moving to the next conversation.
You have some last point.
No, but you have to do 1 minute for me.
1 minute, 1 minute. Last point.
People don't know 1 minute. That's the problem I have with you.
Stated that they withdrew the petition and the judge refused to give the judgment. I mean, this is basic. You can arrest the judgment. And until it is delivered, you can't. So why do you say that they withdrew and the judge should give ruling on what? Because I brought a petition and there's an objection.
Yeah.
The judge is supposed to give a ruling. And I'm saying I'm withdrawing. This is basic practice in law. So why do you say that the judge didn't give a ruling? Ruling on what?
What has been withdrawn?
Do you get it?
Okay.
But what ruling are you giving?
Okay.
So they themselves counterclaimed. I've really asked for it, but I don't have it. I wanted to read their counterclaim. You see, if there were no issues, one, what was the basis for the counterclaim? Two, they could have said that, okay, yes, there can be judgment on admission. If indeed it is so simple as they are saying, why were they battling? They could have said that, okay, yes, we have accepted it. Grant that one for them. But why did you go through the whole trial? So please, let's wait and see. See?
By Friday, we're looking at Friday.
Yes. From what I gleaned from what Kwame said, he said that when they were withdrawing, there was no notice that they were refiling again. They only withdrew and went and later filed, and it was admitted. That was what.
Is there any law banning me when I withdraw a case?
No, but I'm not a lawyer. But that's what he said. That is what he said. But you see, the case that, well, when they were moving to the different collation center, the man was not there. I mentioned that the youth organizer, the NDC youth organizer, was there.
Let's go to
the NDC. I'm coming.
What is there?
You had your one minute. Let me have 1 minute.
What NDC you talking?
I'm saying that you don't necessarily have to be at the venue for collation to be done. You have assigns who can be there. You remember when recollation, that one court called for a recollation of about 5 constituencies. In Accra here, Tema Central was moved to the regional office. The NDC did not attend, but today, Tema Central is there. You understand? So when you say that, this is not illegal because the court asked them to go and do the collation. So you say when they got there, the NDC did not go there. You didn't show up. When the recollation, you see, when the recollation was done, when the recollation was done in the regional office, where you have in Sumah, Tema Central, and the other constituencies, the NDC did not show up with their agents and everyone. But the result, the collateral results, was valid today. They are in Parliament.
Because the court ordered
That they should.
And it is there. The law says you can go to the High Court.
Most often, I don't like to go into the technicalities of things, but I look at it from the common man's perspective. Those in the constituency today, most of these legalities we are talking about, sometimes they don't even understand it.
Absolutely.
You see, some of these things is a remedy that we need to look for, because they can plunder the entire constituency into chaos, because both sides have supporters. So if assuming today that one believes that our candidate has fairly won, is representing us, tomorrow they say they've nullified an entire election, they should go and rerun it. It is not good, because though we believe that discretion of the judge is mostly influencing their decisions, but we are appealing to the government of the day or the country that let us put caveats on certain things, especially when it comes to election, so that we know that it is explicitly put out there that if a parliamentary candidate lost an election, within 2 days, within 3 days, within 4 days, the issue has to be resolved, so that everybody knows that this is the way forward. But for us to be told that, oh, there's nothing written there, so it can take even 2 years for us to pass a judgment on some of these issues, we are begging that it is not good enough for the democracy we are practicing, because we must make sure that the sentiments of the people is also factored into our decision, so that at the end of the day we don't plunder an entire constituency into chaos because of a decision that a judge has taken, which is his ultimate right to do so, but it must also consider the what do I call it, the sentiments of the constituents.
Very well. Thank you very much, Richard. Let me say a big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise. Still phones, Papa Pafi. News Flash is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Please go and buy from them. All the gadgets you need, you can get them at Franco Trading Enterprise. It's very simple. If you need a phone, if you need a microwave, blender, television, we're talking about air conditionings, CCTV cameras, we're giving that also to you. But don't forget that there's a promotion ongoing, and it's going to end on the 28th of this month. And so you can go there and enjoy 40% discount. Give us a call on 0246422338. 0555-939311, or you can also call 0302-225651 and speak to us. Our branches are all over the country, so go at any branch and make a purchase. And please do call us. You can also visit our website. It's www.francotrading.com, or you can also download the app, which is the Franco Trading app on Google Play Store, and you're good to go. It's very, very simple. Franco Trading Enterprise says, still phones, Papa Pafi. We're going to move on to our next conversation. I don't know if I've got some messages to do before we move on to that, but once I get that, green light out, see some of the contributions that you have also sent to us. So please continue to send your messages to us. We'll try and make time and read all of them here on the show. Now, we move on to the IGP issue. So the IGP actually had a mandatory retirement date in December, which is where we are right now. But there's a twist. The Police Council has actually recommended a 2-year contract extension for the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete Yohono. According to the proposal, it's been actually submitted to the President for approval, and if that happens, indeed, he's going to have another 2 years to serve. This has been a major concern to most people, and people are raising, serious concerns about it, but we're going to get into it. We didn't see this coming. If you look at this letter over here, it says suspension of the grant of contract appointments. This was cancelled by the President. His Excellency. Suspension. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that the grant of post-retirement contract appointments to retired public service staff has been suspended with immediate effect. Consequently, all requests for such appointments will no longer be considered. Kindly take note of this directive and ensure strict compliance. So even though it's been suspended, which means he may possibly decide to bring it back at any point in time. If you look at this place, it says that consequently, all requests for such appointments will no longer be considered.
Good.
That contradicts.
That was 2nd April
2025, and I remember very well what was happening around that time.
Yes,
there were a series of these issues happening at the time, and that's why it was triggered.
Including the IGP, the ECG boss, the IGP.
Exactly, that's why it triggered this.
Yes.
Now we're going to go back to it.
Good. So yes, so the police council made a recommendation to the president for consideration for the contract extension of the IGP. Of course, it's allowed in the Constitution. Article 109 is there. You can extend it for additional years if the person...
So legally, the president has not...
Oh, no, not at all.
Any.
And the wording is, it's a suspension.
But this...
Do you get it?
Yes.
It may be released, but not maybe to the public, right? But
why was this given to the public?
Yes, because a new government just came in, and then all sort of contract and those things were going on, and so in order to sanitize the situation, there was a release that
suspension on
suspended. Remember, same came public lands.
Yep,
it has been released. Are you aware?
But council, council, why is it that when you want to suspend, we know.
Yes.
When you release the suspension, we don't know.
Oh, most of
government communications.
Yes, most of the issues may come up, but for me, I'm yet to cite the removal of the suspension.
Yes, nobody has seen that actually.
This decision is a special case because it was a request made by the police council to the president, and under the Police Act, they have the mandate to do that.
Absolutely.
Right. And also looking at the experience of the IGP and then looking at the current circumstances, most of the matters pending, I believe that in the good interest of the state, the president decided to waive that suspension in the case of the IGP and grant that.
And so this is strictly determined by this performance by far.
Yes, and the police council made that recommendation. The president did not so much to decide to extend. The police council made a case, and
but does it resonate with its performance so far?
Of course, so far to me, so far so good. Yes, to me, so far so good. Yes, and so that was subjective. I mean, you can.
Of course.
Yes, that's my view.
Yeah,
that's an honest view. Yes, and the Constitution also made that basis that in case of, based on the person's expertise, experience, you can decide to extend. And so
some of the issues that were raised was the fact that he's embarking on some reforms and other things.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, yes. And there are even pending cases they are investigating. So let's give the president the benefit of the doubt. Let's also, look at the IGP's performance. To me, he has been on top of the job. The few, this thing has been in such a position. And so the argument that this letter came and why are we extending it? Even you remember that when this letter came, those in the academia raised a lot of issues. And I remember the Minister for Education came out that he spoke to the president and that those people have been exempted. If you remember, it's on record. And so it is not that we are not doing at all. But as and when it becomes necessary, it may be considered. The prophet says they raised it and there was an exemption.
So in the future, there are certain areas, certain other.
And so let's say that, yes, if my brother Awal is maybe performing an essential role, and there's the need and he has attained there's a recommendation, I'm sure the president will consider it, right? But there was a need to streamline it because the request, it cut across every institution. That was why this letter came in. So I'm sure once this conversation comes up, I'm sure there may be official response from government. I'm
sure you are aware that the CJ may be falling into this same situation.
CJ doesn't. You know, the judiciary, he's got. They have included it in their listen because they retire at 70.
Okay, yes.
Then the High Court do at 65.
Yeah, but he's around what year now?
Almost 70. I think 70 next year. So for them, once you retire, there's no
extension for his case.
Yes.
Okay.
It is only the High Court. When there's you get attend 60 years and then there's a pending case, I think we are given 6 months.
To resolve that before.
Finish before, but for the 70-year Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, they don't.
So once
70 days,
that's it.
Yes.
Okay. Let me come to you.
So you see, ideally, this is a normal thing within the public service. It's just normal. But you see, in 2024. The kind of campaign they waged against people who were given extensions, that was the reason when Dampare was removed and Yewonu was appointed. In March, Afenyomakin sat in this studio, Joy News, and said that we are calculating the age of Yewonu. So because that was in March. So that in December he will retire and go, just like you pushed us to do with education. I remember a deputy education director who was a common teacher from Efiase. I have known him from Asante Efiase. He was a teacher, rose through the ranks to be deputy director general. At a point in time when his mandate was renewed for 2 years, it was blocked. The NDC were all over with their assigns like Johnny Hughes, saying that no, we still need
how can he be NDC?
No, I'm saying assigns. I said those days he was in charge.
Adding NDC to him.
He was leading the charge that if people attain 60, let them go. Because there are people who will still also need to also take those positions. So that is the reason it became a bone of contention when they came to power. So after that, it was in March that Afenyomakin said this. In April, they brought a letter.
Yeah.
That, there will not be any extension. That's why we're saying that there is a contradiction. Because you see, in March when it was raised that indeed the person you have appointed to be IGP will retire in December, the person at ECG will also retire within the year, and one other person, there were 3. When we raised the issues, then the president reaffirmed what we have raised and said that indeed that the extension will not come at all. Now the extension has come. That's what I'm saying, that normally, even Apietu had 2 years. You understand? So normally within the security agencies, it's not really a new thing.
So you don't have a problem with it, but it's the way
I have a problem because what is his scorecard? What is the performance? What is his performance? The first thing he did. The first thing he did when he was appointed, he went to Boku. At Boku, first time in the history of this country that IGP's car was shot into. His car was shot into. Instead of calling for the arrest of the bandits, he stood there and told them that they should lay down their arms. He will recruit them into police service. That was his first major statement when he became the IGP. Second, when Botswana went to Parliament to explain the issues surrounding Ablekumanov, Botswana said that they only needed police protection to recollect 19 police stations. From that day, Afenyomakins led the minority. They walked to the IGP and petitioned him that the EC is saying that they have all the pink sheet and they will recollect it if you give them security. So we need the security. This man postponed it and postponed until the EC said they will rerun. Those were the reasons why I sat in this studio and said that you couldn't police for collation of 19 polling stations, but you could police for a rerun of 19 polling stations. Then at the rerun, the police were there when 2 people were assaulted. 2 journalists. One was assaulted by a divisional commander, unprovoked, on camera. He couldn't resolve it up to today. What we only heard was that he said they had interdicted that divisional commander. Up to now, the journalists have not got justice. This is the IGP you're talking about. The IGP who, when Hawa Kumsin and Nanai Lloyd were assaulted, it took him 2 months to arrest the people who are seen on video. They were all seen on video. It took him 2 months. But we had to persist and said, I'm coming. No, you see, after that, he said he had arrested 8 people. He took them to court. He still got. I'm saying that he said he had arrested. He brought.
At least there was an arrest.
I'm coming.
No, I understand your frustration.
Who did you arrest?
I'm saying that
he said he had arrested.
Still not.
Someone assaulted me.
MP was assaulted.
And was captured on video. You go and arrest the person without recourse to me.
How?
You send the person to court. That was what happened.
It's a criminal case. What is your involvement? It's a state.
I have to confirm whether the person who assaulted me is the one that we have arrested.
Ali, he arrested.
That didn't happen. Again, my brother, don't disrupt the show.
Let him.
I'm saying that was what happened. The 8 people, he said they were sent to court. They were granted bail. They pleaded guilty simpliciter. They were granted bail. Then, on that score, I sat in this studio and said, he should tell you where the court will be so that we'll go and see the sentencing. That didn't also happen. It was still a release from the police. Again, unconventional of the police. When they arrested them, They did not post their pictures on their Facebook page. It's unconventional. Because almost all those they had arrested, they put their faces there. When they were even convicted to a charge of 6,000 cedis, they were still not published. No journalists went to that court. That is one. Two is that this is the only IGP who had arrested people for saying things on TikTok and denied them bail. When the NDC Vice Chairman Azoka stood in Akwatia and said if he had met Afenyoma's case, he would trigger a by-election in his constituency. We called for his arrest. The IGP said he had arrested him in Koforidua and granted him bail. At the same time, his boys posted his video in Tamale sitting at his popular base that he has not been arrested. Today, that case has not been resolved.
Okay.
But Sir Obama only posted a video on Facebook. The same IGP had arrested him. I'm saying that this IGP is the worst IGP in the history of this country.
I'm going to come back. Richard, give me...
And you are giving him an extension of 2 years.
Wow.
Then we are doomed because the law only works for the opposition. So he has been rewarded for the work that they have assigned him to do. And that's the reason they have really renewed his mandate for 2 years. Because you see, such a worst IGP who will arrest someone for just criticism is been given 2 years extension, then the opposition is doomed.
Okay, let me go to Dr. Awal will have the last word, but let me go to Dr. Doc. If you can hear me. Forgive me. Sumah.
Who is the government?
Doc, let me have your take on this. How did you receive this news?
I mean, it's not an unusual practice to see these 2-year extensions or re-engagements once these public officers reach the mandatory retirement age. I think what is causing some headaches or grief for the government is the position it took back in April that said, let's hold these things, they wouldn't be approved. I'm sure they had a basis and some good reason for issuing that directive back in April. Now, between April and now, if something had changed along the line and the government had a change in position, I think it would have been helpful to have had that shared with the public before this came up. Then at least then you would know that along the line there has been a policy change on this matter. But again, for me, it is not a practice that is out of the ordinary. There is nothing wrong with it. It's the police council, I'm sure, have considered, all the merits, of extending or re-engaging for another 2 years and appropriately made that recommendation to the president. Again, it is just the fact that that April memo is what is causing, some grief for the government. But other than that, this wouldn't have been a major issue to re-engage the IGP for another 2 years.
Very well, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm grateful.
My pleasure.
Great. Dr. Osae Kwapong is the Senior Research Fellow for CDD Ghana, joining us via Zoom this morning on the show. Richard.
Yeah, it is often said that, excuse me to say, that it's only a fool who doesn't change his mind. So it is always a norm for every human society that when there is a need for you to relook at certain things, you can do that explicitly. And if you listen to the suspension letter, it is not something that is based on a constitutional reform that was ratified. To say that, yes, per the constitutional reforms and amendments, we are ratifying this, that suggests that going forward, there will be no more contract extension for any public sector servant. It wasn't the case. And then again, Awal is using only political scenario cases as a scorecard to measure the performance of the IGP. That is not so. You cannot use only political related cases to measure the performance of an Inspector General of Police. What is good for the goose is equally good for the gander. Maybe what suits you is not what suits somebody else.
So let me give you just one scenario. Gun violence in this country This year is worse. Last
year we had only 26 cases.
I am coming. This year 107 cases in this country.
Okay.
When the report?
Let him justify. Let him justify that aspect of it.
When anyone assumes office, an institution like the Ghana Police Service cannot be transformed or cannot be said that it is become an institution of saints and has gotten to the status of sainthood. Obviously, there will be a lot of negativities and there will be other minor issues within the police fraternity, which takes time for those issues to be remedied or rectified. Okay? So if today, in every scenario, even in America, in any other country, when it comes to gun-related issues or whatever, there are always ups and they are always down. So some situation today can be brought down, tomorrow it can escalate. That doesn't mean that the IGP is not on top of his job.
In America, you can go and buy a gun in a shop.
In Ghana, you cannot do that. I am saying that as when I'm making my presentation, my presentation is not tilted towards political argument. I'm doing a generic conversation, okay, for us all to look at it from other perspectives. So in every police institution across the globe, you cannot expect that everything should be coming downwards at all points in time.
So Rich, in which aspect of the performance that would you want to look at to maybe oppose what?
No, to be honest with you, I have.
Because there are various
yes, that I'm saying that as a matter of fact, there are issues that are happening in this country, okay, that some require more attention from the police command. But there are other things that we can say that yes, crime rate has relatively come down.
That's not true.
Crime rate has relatively come down. I don't know what statistics he is using to tell me that crime rate has gone
Commission
up.
had a report. The report came out.
Our society is relatively calmer today. Society is relatively calm. Let me tell you, even during Dan Parry's days, when you appointed Dan Parry, was crime brought to the barest minima?
Yes.
Did we eradicate crime entirely?
It is better than.
Did we eradicate crime entirely? You see, when you appoint somebody, you do everything to defend him.
No.
When another person appoints somebody, you say that he is not performing well. We all sincerely believe that Tokonu needs to up his game. But I can, I say, Yokonu need to up his game. But I cannot sit here and say that he is the worst IGP that Ghana has ever had.
I have never pointed to any of his achievements today. Because what you said is not true.
Yeah, you two have not mentioned, you only talk about the negatives. You said no. Awal only spoke about the negatives. Awal only spoke about the negatives about him. And I'm also saying to you, that yes, perhaps in my community where I live, there is relatively calm in that enclave because everybody believes that the police are having their presence always there. The police visibility, is it not still there? The police, are they not being retooled? Are the police not being deployed to other places to perform their duties effectively? What exactly do you want from the IGP? Is it that there is a case relating to politics that he didn't act on it immediately, for which reason you want to deem him as the worst IGP Ghana has ever had? I would not want to associate myself with that statement. I believe that we need to give him the opportunity. If government of the day believes that per the recommendation of the police council, he should be given an extension of 2 more years to be able to solidify his gains, why don't we give people the benefit of the doubt? We should give him some significant amount of time to solidify the gains that he's been able to achieve so far. So when we go into 2026, and then still we are not getting what we expect, then we can say that we shot ourselves in the foot. But it's too early to just bastardize him and make it look like he is not doing anything and just sitting there and at the comfort of his office.
Okay. By the way, Ghana's crime level is actually considered moderate with a national crime index of 45.25.
Yes, I mean,
the country is ranked as the second safest in Africa, and its crime rate is lower than that of countries like Canada, Greece, and Australia. It says that, however, crime rates can be higher in more densely populated areas like Greater Accra.
Yes, so, my brother,
and this IGP report by Foster.
Yes, so the IGP point, he was asking about achievement.
So I'm saying that,
right?
No,
at least the Ablikmanov, yes, people were arrested. I was always where they gave their party measurement, army uniform, national security, the short people beat up members of parliament. Did they arrest anybody?
There is a law.
Even when they ban people in elections,
as a result of that.
when they kill people during elections, President ordered the then IGP to investigate and come up with a result. Was he able to do it? Was the IGP, former IGP able to do it? He did short time when this IGP was appointed.
At least
he
no, report.
And present the report.
The report
so
was
that is the achievement.
Don't let us be bastardizing heads of institutions.
Let me get some messages.
So we are not doing strong institutions.
Okay, all right.
If you keep bastardizing heads of institutions, when would
this one says that teachers are very angry this morning after the government couldn't pay their professional development allowance, which Akufo-Addo. Oh, gentlemen, let me yes, we'll get there. Development allowance, which the Akufo-Addo administration instituted and paid every November until it left government last year. Teachers been seriously scammed. Kwesi Reynolds sent in that. Council will answer to that. He says there's a release. Will answer to that. Good morning, everyone. And this IGP, over 400 innocent Ghanaians have been killed in our country, and Mahama is extending his contract. We are not safe in our country. Christian from Sandema sent him that. This one says, KMJ and team, good morning. This is Samuela, workshopafrica.com here. I see Ghana Post as one of the most lucrative government companies in Ghana if certain structures are put in place. Thanks. Council will ensure that he's actively working on that, so I'm sure that he'll be able to give us something to. Please, this young man should stop politicizing everything. John Hughes was doing his work and not working for the NDC. When the NPP were in power, you did a lot of terrible things. You even arrested the dollar, or perhaps the dollar arrested us, and yet you people refuse to acknowledge what this sitting president is doing. All right, so this one over here, it says, okay, let me go to the next one. It says, KMJ, good morning. I hope you are doing well. I'm fine. Thanks for asking. I'm not surprised about the judge's verdict on the Kpandai Parliamentary elections. Before he notified the election, we already saw it on social media where NDC members were circulating that there will be a by-election in some some constituencies like Kpandai, Suhum, Jama North, Techiman South, and others. Sumah, there is no free and fair election in this world. America cried, their election is not free and fair. This IGP's tenure has been marked by concerning security lapses, including the Jamiri incident, Boko escalation, Aswase assassination, student killings, and Sampa tensions. Given Ghana's reliance on peace, extending his mandate seems unwise. Competence and accountability are needed, and it's striking that neither he nor his minister has faced the parliamentary scrutiny over these failures. Brookman Annabelle sent in that. According to NDC, Rashid Tanko, the 41 polling centers, NDC's Rashid Tanko, the 41 polling centers were exhibits. If a third of an election has problems, then there's a big basis to nullify the whole. In Ablekuma North, there were only 3 polling centers under contest, but the rerun of 19 allowed the institutions to work. Research underway. Patrick in Accra sent in that. Let me go to the next one. And let me go to Gasti man from Brekum. He says, so the Alan people cannot be neutral forever without defending Mahama and the NDC. Is this what they quoted for?
Gasti, am I defending? Gasti, we are objective-minded people. We follow issues, not people.
Let me go to Daniel. Daniel Blakuma Central says, in a country such as ours, we have remained in peace over a period of time. All political parties should first think about the nation we have, but not the political party. What changed? Greetings to Awal. He's doing a good work for the party. 2 against 1. Daniel Blakuma Central says it's 2 against 1.
We are the Ghana first.
The MPP will win the rerun. Awal is making good submissions. The IGP is underperforming, and that's Daniel Apure again sending in that. Okay. Maybe I'll do a few more and we'll go. Good morning, KMG. Awal has indicated that Bawumia won the presidential elections at Kpandai. Can you please let your production team fact check that assertion? No, that's not what he said. They say he had the highest, yeah. Okay, let me go down here. Musa in Aswasi says so far the available evidence shows that the infractions that occurred during the 2024 elections were not accidental. They were deliberately orchestrated by some EC officials in collaboration with elements within the NPP, as seen in Ablekuma North and Nandom constituency. These widespread issues mean EC officials involved must also be held accountable and prosecuted to prevent future occurrences. My regards to Chief of Staff Julius Debra. Good morning, KMJ. I completely disagree with the re-engagement of the IGP. NPP brought back Dr. Anthony Insia Asari of Ghana Health Service, and Ghanaians were not happy. Why is JM committing the sin of yesterday? This should be reversed. Simon sent in that. Master planner is in Kintampo, and he says, tell council not to read that bogus press release. When teachers are seriously crying about unpaid allowances, President Mahama is also busy focused on how to share sanitary pad to SHS students. President Anado introduced this allowance and has always paid it to teachers. Today, Klenchia says he won't pay. Teachers are watching closely, and that's Master Planner over there. The IGP's performance is being questioned due to various security breaches, including violent incidents in lack of effective leadership, raising concerns about his ability to lead a service and warranting consideration for no extension. Brookman in Nasman sent in that. Lasa Sese from Zenu says, good morning to everyone. The NPP should pray hard that the appeal and stay of execution work for them, or else their number in Parliament will definitely drop again. I have said it time without number that since Honorable Afinyo Makin remains their leader in the House, their number will continue to reduce. The good people of Kpandai need development, and they would surely vote for the NDC candidate. Performance in the last 8 years that they have wasted in power. IGP extension for me is good, but bad for this IGP because I don't see the good works of the IGP. Regards to Honorable MP Joti and
of course, just NDC, we are objective. Yes, so that is fair assessment of the situation.
All right, gentlemen, our time is up. We have to go.
So they raise the issue of about unpaid allowance.
Please answer that
an
quickly.
Official release from Control and Accountant General Department.
Okay.
Yes.
So it says it's paying the money, or
there was
the money.
A hedge, and so they will pay it.
A hedge from where? Technical hedge.
Yeah, technical.
It is not
that is
a technical.
So that's official release from Control and Accountant.
So this was when 25th.
Do you get? Okay. So it's
it says the Controller and Accountant General's Department wishes to inform all stakeholders, particularly our colleagues in the education sector, that 2 categories of allowances scheduled for payment in November 2025 could not be processed due to a technical hedge.
And it's paid in December.
That is an afterthought because this is something that is paid once every year.
Yes. So
it is paid around November for them to be able to really get this money.
You pay
Akufo-Addo who instituted this allowance. It never existed. He said continuous.
Let's see.
I'm saying that it's an afterthought because the teachers started calling him
Okay. There's a single cell clinic fundraising dinner that I want to also be a part of. And I'm going to get the details for you so that you can also be a part of that. Now, we are actually excited to invite you to a special fundraising dinner in support of the Ghana Institute of Clinical Genetics Sickle Cell Clinic. Join us on December 4th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at the Accra City Hotel. Grab a VIP ticket for 1,500 and 1,000 Ghana cedis for a regular. Tickets are available now at the Joy FM front desk. Get yours today and help us make a difference in the lives of patients with sickle cell disease. Let's come together to support this worthy cause. We look forward to seeing you there, and please try and reach us on 0249 563653 or 0543 918 858, or you can also call 0550 420 120 and be a part of this life-changing experience. And that'll be all for this morning. I'd like to say a big thank you to Awal Mohammed representing the NPP. Richard Sumah is from the United Party. I had also in studio Stephen Kingsley. Benia is a lawyer, Deputy Managing Director for Ghana Post Company Limited, representing the NDC as well. Dr. Osae Kwapong joined us on Zoom, and lawyer Kwame Oredu also joined us via Zoom. A big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise. I am KMJ.